Concept of Sunnah in the Muwatta of Malik ibn Anas, Chapter 5, Part 3. The prevalent practice, amal, and Sunnah. It appears from the contents of the Muwatta that among the legal arguments, Malik's greatest reliance is upon the actual practice, amal, of Medina. But the practice of Medina is not something absolutely specific and explicit. There are several expressions and phrases in the Muwatta which convey the sense of practice. They express different shades of amal and have their gradations. In the following, we will discuss these expressions according to their position. The chief constituent and the highest form of the amal with Malik is the element which is observed in the practice of the people of Medina in general, and on which Malik and his circle agree with those scholars whom they like. Further, the whole body of the scholars in Medina also give their consent to it, and according to Malik, even the past scholars as well as the governors and judges held a unanimous opinion concerning it. The typical expression of this is the following example. On a certain issue, Malik says, "The agreed practice among us, which I heard from those whom I like, on which the leaders of the past and the present are in agreement, and that is the sunnah about which there is no disagreement among us, and according to which it has been the practice of the people. Al-amr al-mujtama'a alayhi indana, والذي سمعت ممن أرضى والذي اجتمعت عليه الأئمة في القادم والحديث وتلك السنة التي لا اختلاف فيه عندنا والذي لم يزل عليه عمل الناس." Apologies, no Arabic text given. Malik has gone so far to establish the practice of the people of Medina in this case that he has apparently left nobody out, either past or present. But the striking point in this example is the way he starts his description. He begins the argument with the agreed opinion of his circle, indana. Then he goes on quoting whom he liked, mimman arda. Then the whole body of scholars of the past and the present. Then the sunnah, which was without disagreement. And at the end of the continuous practice of the masses. It seems that the amal al-nas as such is not the highest argument unless it is strengthened by other corroborative arguments. There is plenty of evidence in the Muwatta to support this view. On a certain occasion, Malik says, "The matter about which there is no disagreement and no doubt among any of the scholars of our city, and the practice is also like that. Al-amr alladhi la ikhtilafa fihi wa la shak inda ahad min ahli al-ilm biladina wa kadhalik al-amal." At another place, he uses this phrase, the matter which is under practice, its knowledge is in the hearts of the people, and the practice of the past has been like that. Al-amr al-ma'mul bihi والمعرفة ذلك في صدور الناس وما مدى من عمل ماديين فيه. From these examples we can understand that the most effective and forceful argument in the thought of Malik is the practice, the amal of Medina, when it is corroborated by other arguments. Next to this kind of expression are the phrases which describe the practice of the people, along with some of the corroborative arguments. On a certain issue, Malik says, "This is the practice which I found the people and the scholars of our city following." On another occasion, Malik says, "The agreed matter among us and the sunnah about which there is no disagreement, and on which I found the scholars of our city." It follows from these examples that where the practice, al-amal, is supported by one or two arguments, this is secondary and forced to the practice which is backed by further arguments. The third kind of practice is the one which is reported above without being corroborated by other arguments. This is the practice which I found the people following. That is the past practice, and the people have always followed it. On another occasion, Malik reports the practice of the Muslims about which there is no disagreement. The fourth constituent of the practice is the simple agreement of the scholars of Medina, without any other corroborative argument. On such occasions, Malik says, "This is the matter on which the scholars of our city has always agreed." Or sometimes he refers to the matter of some anonymous scholars, the matter which I heard the scholars speaking about. These are the different phrases which are used to denote the prevalent practice of Medina. It seems that these expressions represent different shades of the practice, and that they convey different degrees of the amal, as we have already noted. All these phrases are not quite equal in force. Their force increases proportionally according to the strength of the corroborative arguments. These were the positive expressions conveying the practice of Medina, but sometimes Malik discards certain elements alongside the practice in Medina, and on such occasions he usually adds, "Laysa al-amal alayh," the practice is not according to it, at the end or at the beginning of the issue. On the issues pertaining to the performance of pilgrimage, Malik says, "The practice is not according to this, laysa ala hadha al-amal." On the question whether a person can say one witr. Malik declares, this is not the practice according to us. ليس هذا العمل عندنا. There is yet another constituent of the amal in Medina, that is the opinion of Malik himself. We have seen above that the amal holds a unique position in the legal thought of Malik, and its force increases with the strength of the corroborative arguments. We have also noted that all the arguments other than the amal are subject to the authority of the amal, which is never overruled by any of the previous arguments, but it remains to be seen whether the amal itself is subject to anything else, or if it is absolutely independent argument. It is our opinion that it is subject to the normative practice, a point to which we shall revert in the next section. But it may be very important here to point out that the practice which Malik upholds was not very old. It becomes clear from the contents of the Muwatta that the amal which Malik upheld and the amr al-qadim expressed in the Muwatta were in fact quite recent. On the issue of the night prayer, Salat al-Tarawih, during the month of Ramadan, Malik quotes Dawood ibn Qais, who said, I found the people during the rule of Aban ibn Uthman ibn Umar ibn Abdulaziz in Medina saying 39 rak'ahs, including witr. Malik, endorsing this report, adds, that is the ancient practice according to us. Here Malik calls a practice al-amr al-qadim, which had actually originated only a generation before him. The most telling example on the subject is the following. Al-A'raj, Abdurrahman ibn Hurmuz, who died circa 117 AH, describes a unanimous practice of the people of Medina on a certain issue. On this unanimous practice of the people of Medina in the time of A'raj, Malik remarks, the practice is not according to this practice. This means that what was a unanimous practice of the people of Medina 30 years before had become outdated in the time of Malik, and a new practice had replaced it. It is the first instance that Amr al-Qadim had its origin only in the time of Umar ibn Abdulaziz, who died 101 AH, and here is the second instance the Amal of Medina is stated to be against what was unanimous practice of the people in 117 AH. Therefore, the amal of the people of Medina was quite recent in the time of Malik, or else the amal spoken of in the Muwatta was not always actual, but rather sometimes was intended by Malik to be the ideal normative practice. We are inclined to support the second view. Stay tuned for many more parts.